When I wake up in the morning, the first words I speak are, "Thank you." And the rest of my day is a long murmuring of, "I surrender. I am available." Despite this submission, I walk into rooms and spaces often intimidated and insecure. Perhaps you can't blame it on my past, specifically childhood experiences, because all insecurities have a root, right? Maybe I can blame it on my mom, who battled the dichotomy of mental illness and substance abuse, or my father, who wasn't around, or maybe I can blame it on those social determinants of health that are often discussed, attending a failing school or living in a neighborhood plagued by drug activity or gun violence. This is the first time I have publicly made this admission, and I'm sure if I were to tell others that they may find it hard to believe. Christina Rosenthal? The one who made it out the hood, became a dentist, opened her own practice, graduated from Harvard, later studied the leadership styles of former presidents and even dined with one, feels insecure? Yes. Dan Wickler once said, once you figure out what questions you have, it's not hard to find the answers. So I had to question myself, and luckily I didn't respond, or I would be needing the services of my psychiatry colleagues, Stephen and Zaina. Christina, why with all you've done, you possess the feeling of inadequacy? How did I get imposter syndrome, presenting with symptoms that I do not belong or do not deserve my accomplishments? The answer came. It is because at those times of uncertainty, I am being driven by ego and not my true self. Many may view my vulnerability as a weakness, but I view it as liberation. Carrying the burden of insecurity comes at a cost. It's heavy. And you almost feel like you're compromising your soul when you are not true to your authentic self. And if you want to know the truth, I get tired of feeding the insecurity by repeating the narrative. I do not want to say one more time that my mother was an alcoholic and suffered from mental illness. I don't want to make any more mentions of my father not being present in my life as a child, because my current reality is that my mother is healed and is now an amazing grandmother. In fact, she is with my kids right now, enabling me to give this talk. And my father has been in my life for years now. And now I realize why I'm so cool. He's the smoothest dude to the east of the Mississippi River. I do not want to say one more time that I had to go to my grandmother and my aunt's house when our lights would get cut off. And I don't want to speak about the roaches that would crawl around my feet or fall from the ceiling onto my plate as I sat down and ate dinner. I don't want to talk about it. But honestly, they created who I am. I am a bundle of my past experiences. And yes, your past does not define you. And yes, there's no going back and changing anything about it. But my past created me into the person you see today. So it may be accurate to say that those humble beginnings gave me insecurity. Insecurity in knowing who I am. There's wondering if I'm being judged for not knowing enough, or if I'm being judged for knowing too much. Would I code switch and use ebonics in the middle of my talks, or would my subjects and verbs agree? There is the fear of being underestimated because of my Southern accent. And y'all, yes, I said y'all, there are insecurities I have as a mother in trying to achieve my goals and yet be there for my sons to nurture and prepare them for theirs. There is insecurity in knowing that I am the mother of 3 Black boys in America who could be targeted by police any day without consequence. To battle my insecurities, I have always found freedom and sought solace in educational opportunities, because one thing was for sure: you could say many things about me, but unintelligent would never be one of them. My thoughts were education would be my ticket to security and provide me with opportunities that I never knew existed. And my education has delivered on that promise. My life has been forever changed. And in fact, the change has been generational. Months ago, I received a magazine from my alma mater, University of Tennessee Health Science Center, and I was featured in it. They did a full 2-page spread. And upon opening it, I immediately shut it. And I was like, ah! My 12-year-old hears me, concerned. He runs down the stairs. He's like, Mom, what's wrong? I opened the magazine frantically and I said, look, can you see those pimples? You see the melanin in my gums? It looks like gingivitis. That tooth is longer than that one. This is going to nothing but dentists. They're going to criticize me. The photographer had taken the photo from a slightly down angle, and everyone knows you have to take pictures higher up to get the best shot. And in all of his wisdom, my son looked at me and said, Mom, you're fine. At least you're in there. Now, I wanted to say, go to your room. But instead, I just stood there staring at him. But I'm not alone. All of us, despite the differences that divide us, have insecurities. Now, your insecurities may not be my insecurities, but you have them. Insecurity is that big elephant in the room, that big ugly monster that engulfs us because we are cloaked in pride and arrogance and the need and desire for significance, recognition, or appreciation. We feel we're too bold or courageous to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and expose them. After all, who likes to be transparent with flaws? Facebook and Instagram have programmed and conditioned us to present perfection to the world. But I ask you, is that really boldness? Or is that being cowardly? And isn't inequity created by insecurity? We see it play out daily in our lives. The majority fears becoming the minority, and the minorities fear oppression. And as a result, the imbalance of distribution of resources to individuals is created. Everyone doesn't require the same amount of anything. This distribution should be customizable and tailor-made to accommodate their current condition. This imbalance is what causes many of the social insecurities. But what if, just what if we use our inadequacies, which are often viewed as sources of deficiency, as fuel for empowerment? What if we use our insecurities to become our passions? What if we use our insecurities to raise our voices for those who reside in vulnerable communities, for those who are voiceless or merely do not speak because they feel that no one will listen? People don't need to be saved. They just need the tools to save themselves. I'm reminded of a mother I met in Rwanda who had a child to suffer from malnutrition. To help her child recover, she participated in a program and was given seed and 1 goat. Now, a year later, she possesses a bountiful garden and has multiple goats. No one worked her land. No one mated her goats. She did the work. She just needed the opportunity. It was amazing meeting this woman because although she was on another continent, it made me think about my mom, who made the best with what she was given. And isn't that true for most of us? What if, like her child, you were once malnourished and used your platform to fight hunger? What if you experienced an unfavorable birth outcome and sought ways to prove maternal mortality? What if you grew up poor or have had financial distress and now use that insecurity to empower others to obtain wealth? What if you use your insecurity of being neglected or rejected to show others love? What if we could all use our insecurities, if it's something that we all share, in the direction of love? What if we no longer had to hide behind our individual religions in order to make ourselves feel superior or feel like I'm right and you are wrong? What a greater, more equitable world we would create. Our purpose lies in our insecurity. The Creator did not give us our life experiences out of boredom. We have them to be testimonies and model overcomers. However, we get to decide if we would use them to strengthen us or weaken us. I made this decision when I determined to be a doctor someday, a pipeline program developed to expose high school students to the various healthcare professions. My passion was not wanting others to be insecure about their futures because of the gravity of their present circumstances. It was my desire for those students who derive from economically disadvantaged households, rural communities, or who are underrepresented in healthcare to be shown possibility. But it has been through that narrative, The one I mentioned earlier that I would never care to disclose again, that they are transformed. Many of them see themselves through my story and are given hope. So those very insecurities that I once viewed as deficiencies and flaws are now tools of inspiration. Referencing the words of Dan Wickler again, we all have questions about the inequities we see in this world, and answers are typically slow to come. But in my son's words, at least we are in there, in our spaces, doing the work and stimulating change that will positively affect the lives of those we serve. We must find value in our insecurities by repeatedly asking ourselves, how? How can I take my pain and convert it to light? How can I distort its agony to help end needless suffering? At least we were given this day, this present moment, as a new opportunity to surrender and show gratitude through our service. It is when we diligently seek them that the answers come. Thank you.